Thanks for staying with us here on Sunrise. Good morning to you, wherever you are in the world. Thank you very much for joining us. Well, did you know that in Jamaica, more than 100,000 women have been diagnosed with endometriosis, and there may be several more living with it undiagnosed. In this segment, we're going to be finding more about endometriosis, what it is, how to identify it, how using new tools of digital healthcare can help manage this illness in today's world. This year's theme is Endometriosis Explained. And so, general practitioner Dr. Kimon Young, she joins us this morning to tell us more. Dr. Young, welcome back. How are you? Nice to have you again.
I love the purple going on. I love it with a little yellow because yellow is actually the color for endometriosis awareness. And Dr. Young, I'm so happy that you're here because this is a problem that besets so many women, and some of them have it and they don't even know what it is, right? So we've heard the term being bandied about oftentimes, but what exactly is endometriosis and how does it present?
No problem. So endometriosis is where the lining of the uterus, the endometrium, you have that tissue being found in other areas of the body. So it can be in the peritoneum, which is like behind where the ovaries are and the uterus is, or you can have it by the liver, you can have it by the rectum, you can have it by the intestines, you can have it in the brain, you can have it in the lung.
In the brain?
In the brain, you can have it in the lung. So it's just where you have that lining, that tissue in different areas of the body. Sometimes it's also really right behind the ovaries, and that's why you get such chronic pelvic pain. So the number one way to identify it, ladies, your period is not supposed to hurt. It's not supposed to hurt as bad. If you are experiencing 10 out of 10 pain with nausea, with vomiting, you can't move, you can't function, that is not a normal period. So anybody with chronic pelvic pain, that is how you're really able to identify endometriosis.
What about when it presents in the brain or in the liver or the other areas that you mentioned? How do you know?
So how would you know? You have foreign epithelial tissue, or that tissue I spoke about, you have it in a different area of the body. Now this is foreign, so your body reacts to that by saying, I don't know what you are, so it sends signals to try and attack it like an infection. So what you will have is inflammation. With that inflammation, you get certain signs, headaches, nausea. So if it's in the brain, headaches. If it's in the rectum, you might get bleeding down there. And again, just pain. It will be pain in any site. So if it's by the liver, pain there, because you have inflammation, and therefore the receptors are there. And that's why you have it. So in any other area, just think about pain and inflammation that happens in that area.
This lets us understand a little bit more why maybe in the past female teachers or women in the workplace may have been less understanding of women with endometriosis because the perception was, but me a woman and me not go on, so me you understand? You know?
Just look up here.
Everybody have it, you know?
Woman born for feel pain. If there's a statement that, look here, if you just want to send me through the room, woman born for feel pain, so what you going to for? Like, it might be deeper than that. So doc, so when it comes to now endometriosis, when you go to your doctor, first of all, which doctor should you go to as a female to be diagnosed, and what do you say to them? Because again, you're feeling these pains, you're feeling this discomfort, but I don't even know how to represent it or to say it to my doctor, or I don't even know, is there like an endometriosis specialist, or is it that I go to an OBGYN? Who do I go to?
So you definitely go to a gynecologist, but I would empower anybody, before you go to a gynecologist, learn your body, learn your period, to be able to tell the gynecologist what's happening. Because some of the questions they might ask is, how long is your period? When was the last period? When was the first day of the last period? How many days of bleeding? Do you have clots or small clots? Do you have a lot of pain? Is the pain on one side, right side, where it is? So learn your body. Is it that in the first 2 days you have headaches and then it's okay, or you have pain 2 weeks before the period starts? Learn your body, because that's what the gynecologist, who you should go to, will ask you.
When it's in the liver and the brain, who do we go to?
The gynecologist.
Gynecologist as well?
But sometimes you wouldn't know that that's the source. So you can go to a general practitioner who might be able to put things together, because because as general practitioners, we are the first point of care. So we can screen you, we can do the preliminary examinations. Usually we'll do an abdominal ultrasound particularly, and that might reveal something to tell us to send you to the gynecologist.
As we become more sensitized and educated, it might be that we start detecting it more. How do we guard against like overdiagnosis?
Overdiagnosing. Guarding against it, I believe, is just ensuring that you go to the gynecologist and to find a way to be able to do the diagnostic screenings to ensure that it is the correct diagnosis. Because I agree with you, what may happen is that you get other reproductive health issues coming up, like polycystic ovarian syndrome or adenomyosis, but the general practitioner is not equipped to always be able to differentiate, so the gynecologist is where you need to go. And I think, again, just a woman knowing her body really helps, because 80% of a doctor's work is history. Before we even go to examination, before we even
so you have to be able to represent and advocate and tell. Let me ask you, Doc, is it, one second, is it something that is genetic, or is it something that you can't, it just happens? How does it come about? So is it that if you have a strong family background in it, or is it something you get over time, or what causes
you know it already, man. You know everything already, man.
No, is you graduate. That's why I asked you, as do I research, I asked the professional.
No problem. So it's a little bit of all three. If you have a strong family history of it, it is likely that you will have it. For some people, it just happens. And for genetic, there has been no real true found cause as into what the gene exactly is, but it is considered hereditary.
Oh, wow. Can you get pregnant if you have endometriosis?
I will say, because I believe in the good Lord, if the Lord says this child is yours, it is yours. However, difficulties with pregnancy is likely. Wow. Which is why they do offer treatments to help with fertility. But even though the books say infertility, and that is what I graduated to tell you all, but I will say if the Lord says this is your child, the child will be yours.
Yeah. When it comes to, sorry, you know, as a female, the question has flooded my brain. In terms of you get your diagnosis, how early can it present? Because as we were talking about earlier, the excruciating period cramps, maybe, you know, some women start early as 11, 10, 12, 17. How early can endometriosis present itself?
So endometriosis, again, is just reproductive health. So if you have a period, that means you have hormones and a hormonal cycle, and thus it can present at any point you have your period, whatever the age that might be.
Wow. So mummies, you have to, you know, and daddies, you know, you have to find out from your daughters, you know, what's going on, because if they are facing that, experiencing that excruciating pain, it may not just be them overreacting. It can be actually more serious.
From my personal experience, I think parents or friends or even just the guidance counselors at school, if you know someone who has periods, be able to watch for them and identify patterns. Because I think growing up, when I was having my period, I couldn't identify my pattern readily, but my father was the one who was just like, every time you have a period, this happens. Have you noticed it? And they can point those things out to you. And young women, young girls might not be able to understand that. So help the women to identify their patterns with their period.
Is help available in terms of treatment, and what does treatment look like?
Okay, so treatment first looks like doing the screening for it. So we will ask for like a transvaginal ultrasound or an MRI. But diagnostically, meaning to definitely make sure it's there, we do a diagnostic laparoscopy. That's where you use the cameras when you go inside to see the endometrial deposits. We call them chocolate cysts. And they're chocolate because there's blood in there.
Oh, wow.
So sometimes when we're doing that diagnostic laparoscopy, you can also remove some of the deposits sometimes. But again, let's say you're only looking in the ovaries or the womb or in the pelvis, they might miss some deposits elsewhere. What can also happen is that they will give hormonal medications to try and suppress, because with the endometrium, you can imagine, even though you're not in the womb, if you're in the liver, but you're getting the signals from elsewhere from the hormones, it will behave like a period.
Right.
So you can get hormones to interrupt that cycle and reduce the pain that's there.
Is early detection key?
Early detection is key, and again, early detection comes from history, understanding and knowing your body. If you feel any chronic pelvic pain, it is not normal, and go and seek help.
Thank you, Doc. Wow. All right, guys. So if you see somebody, know of somebody, and ladies, let us take, due note and cognizance of what we're going through so that we can make informed decisions and get the requisite help that we need. Very educational indeed. Thank you so very much, Doc. Great to be in the know and also offer some empathy and some compassion for those women around you who may be experiencing endometriosis. Thank you so much to our very wonderful guest, Dr. Kimon Young, general practitioner, for stopping by this morning. TK is on standby with the morning news. Keep it locked here to Sunrise.